القول قول الصوارم كي تسترد المظالم حتى الأراضي. القول قول الصوارم كي تسترد المظالم حتى الأراضي. سلموا رسول أهل العزائم ما دنسوا ما لو طوقته الضراغم. حثالة البغي صالت فأين عهد الحواسم.
Когато виждаше снимката си прострелвана от джихадисти, знаеше присъдата си. Ако го пипнеха, смъртта щеше да е награда. Беше отговорен за убийството на 36 техни брати, но най-вече беше един от тях. Беше ги предал. Заради него лидерът им в пътя на свещената война.
Jihad against America is binding upon myself just as it is binding on every other able Muslim.
Беше мъртъв.
Earlier this morning, Anwar, a leader of Al-Kaida in the Arabian Peninsula, was killed in Yemen.
А сега и за тези, които го бяха наели, беше станал неудобен. Единствената му бронежилетка беше да опише историята си. И се срещнах лично с него, за да разбера какво е да си ислямист, да работиш с янките, а какво е да бъдеш двоен агент. С мен се свърза цял клас абитуриенти от град Мездра. Покрай бала събирали парички, които помолиха да разпределя.
Аз като съм прикована и буквално майка ми прави всичко, аз нищо не мога да направя.
Сумата е предадена за цвети, в помощ за битката и с автоимунно заболяване, която по време на този клип вече е на лечение в Турция.
Тази година, целият випуск, 2024, решихме вместо заря да направим едно добро дело и да дарим средства за благотворителност. Кампанията, на която ще дарим средства, се казва "Цанов напред и нагоре", по която сметка ще се преведат сумата, която сме събрали. Благодарим, бъдете добри!
Цвети, с теб сме! Това е Международният музей на шпионите в сърцето на американската столица Вашингтон. Всичко от заловени атрибути на комунягите от студената война, до вече излязли от употреба ЦРУ джаджи от същия период, машини за криптиране от Втората световна, до разказани истории на най-известните шпиони в човешката история. Истинските Джеймс Бондове.
Бонд. Джеймс Бонд.
Е, точно там, на най-вип мястото е поставен моят домакин от град Кюстендил. Датчанин и може би скоро българин.
Мортен Сторм.
Място заслужено не толкова с убийството след негова информация на десетки джихадисти извършили чудовищни неща, колкото са спасените животи на хиляди с предотвратените атентати именно чрез негови мисии. Случи ли се атентат някъде, и CNN и Fox News именно него търсят, за да им каже какво по дяволите става.
Had I known that the American government were playing around or playing Russian roulette with my life or security, I wouldn't have worked with them.
Но не се заблуждавайте, и янките горе, тези с власт, не го харесват. Защото в книгите си изобличава не само върховете в Ал-Кайда, но и мръсните тактики на самите тях, ЦРУ. Доказателство? Забраняват му да влиза в Америка. Така че хем го наричат герой, хем няма право да влезе в музея, разказваш собствената му история. Това е бившият и може би бъдещ американски президент Доналд Тръмп секунда преди да каже на Хилари:
Вие създадохте ислямска държава.
When you look at her real record, take a look at Syria, take a look at the migration, take a look at Libya, take a look at Iraq. She gave us ISIS because her and Obama created this huge vacuum. She gave us ISIS as sure as you are sitting there. And what happened is now ISIS is in 32 countries.
Тръмп има предвид всичко от американски доларчета за войната в Ирак. Доларчета за бунтовници срещу Асад в Сирия, които после, от чудо, оказват се ислямска държава.
ISIS executions happen in public. These onlookers in Raqqa watch a graphic scene of a man who has been crucified.
И наводнили Европа с мигранти.
Over 800,000 asylum seekers and migrants reached Europe by sea this year. More than 200,000 arrived on the Greek islands in October alone.
Топлите връзки на американски политици, включително от неговата партия със страшилището Осама и клана Бин Ладен.
We had about 24 members of Bin Laden's family in America. They're really lovely human beings. Well, I met him only once. He came to thank me for my efforts to bring the Americans, our friends, to help us against the atheists, he said, the communists.
And now he may be responsible for bombing America.
Това и самата Хилари признава малко по-рано.
Now you look back, the people we're fighting today, we were supporting in the fight against the Soviets.
I mean, let's remember here, the people we are fighting today, we funded 20 years ago.
И именно в една от тези организации, изцяло доброволно ислямизиран и готов за джихад, влиза моя домакин Ал-Кайда. 1979. Съветския съюз нахлува в Афганистан, за да подкрепи комунистическото правителство на Нур Мохамед Тараки. Тази инвазия предизвиква масова съпротива сред афганистанското население, водеща до възхода на група от партизански бойци, решени да изгонят съветските сили. Наричат себе си
муджахидини, войните на Бог.
We want to fulfill our duties, and if we are killed, we are killed in the way of God Almighty. So we haven't lost anything. It's a victory by itself. So we are determined to fight to the last.
И разбира се, Съединените щати в стремежа си да противодействат на съветската експанзия по време на студената война, започват да предоставят значителна подкрепа на муджахидините чрез операция Циклон. Първо им помагат за закупуване на руски оръжия.
So we started buying arms for the mujahideen from the Soviet army in Afghanistan. Because that army was increasingly corrupt.
И точно това има предвид Хилари, когато казва:
The people we're fighting today, we were supporting in the fight against the Soviets.
Операцията изсипва купища долари в оръжия, както и в обучение на афганистански бойци. Като голяма част от това се осъществява чрез пакистанската междуведомствена разузнавателна служба. Сред чуждестранните бойци, които идват в Афганистан да се присъединят към джихада, е и богат саудитец с близки връзки с саудитското кралско семейство, а именно Осама Бин Ладен. Той използва своите връзки и ресурси, за да създаде или МАК. Чрез тази организация набира и обучава бойци за афганистанския джихад. И с приближаването на съветското оттегляне от Афганистан, Бин Ладен трансформира МАК в Ал-Кайда. Целта й е да продължи джихада срещу враговете на исляма, но вече в световен мащаб. И така американците индиректно са отговорни за сформирането на една от най-влиятелните терористични групи в света. Притокът на ислямски бойци от над 43 страни е насърчаван именно от щатите, допълнително укрепвайки радикалните елементи в съпротивът. И така краткосрочната им стратегия да прогонят Съветския съюз има дългосрочни последици.
By 1986, the CIA was supplying the rebels with the Stinger missile. Capable of hitting a moving target 5 kilometers away, it represented a massive threat.
Например, преносимият зенитно-ракетен комплекс с инфрачервено насочване Стингър. ЦРУ снабдява муджахидините в Афганистан с близо 1000 ракети, като помощно средство срещу съветските въздушни удари. Естествено, после правителството си ги връща. Но има малък проблем. От ракетните установки остават 16, които Иран взимат и си създават местно копие. С оттеглянето на щатите, финансирането на оръжия спира. Ал-Кайда трябва да намери нови методи, с които да се въоръжава. Първоначално Осама Бин Ладен използва собственото си богатство, но с разрастването и парите му просто не стигат. Започват да се финансират основно чрез благотворителни организации. Дарения, събирани под претекста на хуманитарна помощ, се наливат право в бюджета на Ал-Кайда. Въоръжени и на свобода започват своите нападения, като главната им цел са самите им бивши дарители – Съединените щати.
The arrogance of the United States regime has reached the point that they occupied Arabia, the holiest place of the Muslims, who are more than 1 billion people in the world today. For this and other acts of aggression and injustice, we have declared jihad against the US.
А това е първата им терористична атака – бомбардировката над американските посолства в Източна Африка. Жертвите – 224 души, включително 12 американци. В отговор, бараж от крилати ракети са изстреляни от американската армия, като опустошават базата на Ал-Кайда в Хост, Афганистан. Но основата на организацията остава непокътната. А това, според официалната версия, е най-големият им терористичен акт – атаката на кулите близнаци. И точно когато ударът се случва, той е един от тях. Днес Мортен Сторм ме посреща в скромната си кюстендилска къща, заедно с българската си съпруга и няколко кученца и котки, спасени от улицата. И може би само по татусите можех да позная, че говоря с екстремен човек. Човек, който мога да попитам какво е да си ислямист и какво е да си двоен агент. Да си двоен агент. Каналът, който гледате, клиповете са демонетизирани от секундата на тяхното качване. А клипове като този не трябва и няма да бъдат спирани за никаква моя реклама. Фланелки? Не! Мърч? Не! Промокодове за какво ли? Не, не, не! Тоест, единственият начин каналът да съществува е чрез своите абонати в платформата Patreon с скромен дан месечно. Бъдете част от нея. Mортен, good to have you, brother.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
You contributed to the deaths of how many terrorists?
36. Around the same arrested. And when I see myself being displayed at the Spy Museum in Washington, D.C. as being apparently one of the 6 most important spies in history, and the most important spy in the war on terrorism.
These are biker tats there.
Some of these are, but some of them, like this one had Thor's hammer. I made that on my second last mission because I was thinking I'm going to die on my mission. So I thought I was gonna take something with me. This is the hammer of Thor. Here in Arabic it says, Ana kafir fakhor, I am a proud infidel. Yeah, but listen to this one.
But you're literally insulting them by that tattoo itself.
Because I'll tell you, Fi Odin athuk, in Odin I trust. Bi'ismihi sa'qatil wa amut, in Odin's name I will fight and die. Valhalla hiya beiti, Valhalla is my home. I came from a very troubled youth family that was broken. I didn't have a dad. I had a violent stepfather. 5 schools kicked me out. My whole life was just so frustrating and so painful that I didn't know how, as a kid, how to deal with this as a young teenager. So for me, I ended up in crimes. I made 2 armed robberies as 13 years old. We stole the mayor's gun. My friend's father was the mayor of the town. So it was a revolver actually. So we stole that one just for the excitement of it. Smuggling cigarettes. I was involved in the biggest cigarette smuggling case in history, Danish history.
Were the money any good?
Oh, the money was excellent. There was no point for me to go to school or to take education because the money was so much better. And you had the girls and you had everything, drugs. I started to build up a reputation because I was really hard at punching. After some time, I again went to prison. I had 6 months, but then I found a pedophile inside the prison and I cutting his finger. No, to give me an additional 3 months. I mean, it was not a punishment because Danish prisons are not like in Bulgaria. We're talking about hotel rooms. We're talking about you have fitness centers, you have your own kitchen to cook food, you can have PlayStation, you can have visitors to come. They're Bandidos motorcycle club, and later on I became a member of them.
And where down we go, 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 where down we go, 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 so where down we go, 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 way down we go.
I wasn't into the biker subculture. It was more for the violence, for that part of it. One time I just had enough. Something happened in my head. I said, this is not what I want. People was respecting me for the wrong reasons, you know, because they loved me, because they were scared. I went to clubs, the owner would come with drinks and to show respect, but it was not the respect I wanted. You know, I wanted, you have to respect me because you love me, or like me. I was seeking something higher purpose of life. So I decided to seek something higher purpose. I went to the local library. I remember I was kicked out from 5 schools and, you know, I used to hate reading. But then something told me, go in and read about Islam. It was a big mess in my life. I needed something more meaningful. And then I picked up first the Quran. I read the biography of Prophet Muhammad in one day, the book. I couldn't leave it. I went in the morning and left when it was closed. And I was like, that's it. I'm a changed man. What attracted me about Islam was that you don't turn the other chin. You also hit back. You know, you have the concept of jihad, of fighting. So you have justified violence in the name of religion. And somehow that made more sense to me. First time when I went to the mosque, I felt clean. I felt accepted. I got my identity. I got forgiven for my sins, for the evil that I have done. But at that time, because I was in Bandidos, we was in the war with the Hells Angels, like there was a conflict. I was sitting with my bulletproof vest, always have a gun or bulletproof vest. I never used to go out without this. Wow. And yeah, it was quite serious. Then one day I had to watch Mike Tyson and Holyfield boxing when he bit the air. But then the police came and they looked at me, they stopped, they said, Mортен Storm, yeah, you're under arrest. We have to take you to the court. I told my friends, keep the beer cold. I'm coming in a few minutes, you know. It's just harassment, local harassment. But then actually, they put me in court and charged me for something I didn't do. For I should have been in a bank, cutting up a bank. I have not been there. So I was actually innocent in prison. I refused to eat. And I told my lawyer, from this moment, I'm a real Muslim now. I was ready to take the sentence. I happened to meet a Muslim guy, this crazy, who I used to be in prison with when I was younger. And he said, hey, Mортен, is that you? I said, yeah, I'm a Muslim now. Oh, I said, I didn't eat for days, but do you have any food? I want you to come with me to the UK, he said. Change your life. The day before I had to go to the court, the police said, we have no evidence for you. And he let me go.
You see all the signs.
I saw the signs, you know, I saw it. It was like, it was meant to happen. We drove in an old car to the UK, and I didn't have £1 on me. And then I started to find a job in Milton Keynes. I started praying 5 times a day. They have a massive mosque in London called Regent Park Mosque. I went in there. I went into an office. There was an old man. He's called Mahmoud Al-Tayyib from Saudi Arabia. He was an old man with long beard. He said, MashaAllah, where are you from? I said, from Denmark. You have to study Islam. Don't be a Shia Muslim, he said. You have to be Sunni. And then you have to have a beard, because I was clean shaved. I said, all right, do you want to study Islam? I said, yes. 2 weeks later, I was in Yemen.
Веднъж заминал за обучение по ислям в Англия. Оттам пътя му продължава към страни от третия свят, като Йемен, където да стигне до крайната форма на своята ислямизация.
5 times a day, the people of Yemen pray.
И до днес говори свободно арабски и цитира наизуст цели части от Корана, без подготовка.
I left more radical than when I used to before Islam. I became more hateful. I learned that you cannot befriend the non-Muslims. It says in the Quran, chapter 5, verses 55, يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تتخذوا اليهود والنصارى أولياء بعضهم أولياء بعض ومن يتولكم منكم إن الله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين.
Wow.
He said like this, let me tell you, all you who believe, do not take the Jews and Christians as your friends and allies. They are amongst themselves friends and allies. And whoever do this is from them. So you apostate, you leave the fold of Islam. And that's why in Arabic, when you convert to Islam, you say, Ashhadu an la ilaha. You abrogate all deities, illallah, except that you only take Allah as your God. Once you say that, you have denied all other religions and you have to hate them. So this is in the Quran. So I started to become more hateful. I started to know the concept from jihad, understand the meaning of it. So my dream became to go and fight and to serve Allah as a soldier. That's the fast track to paradise. Wow. I studied really deeply. I studied this very, very deeply. قاتلوا الذين لا يؤمنون بالله ولا يوم الآخر ولا يحرمون ما حرم الله. Fight those who do not believe in Allah and the last day, nor comply what Allah and His Messenger have forbidden. So they don't follow the Sharia. Fight them until pagans have no chance here. They have to convert or die. They have an option to pay jizya. This is the tax that the Bulgarians used to pay tax to the Ottomans. The Bulgarian Christians, the Balkan Christians used to pay protection to the Ottomans. And when you pay it, you have to be a dhimmi. You live like a third citizen in your own country. Jizya have to be paid with humility, like you are humiliated. So when you pay it, they can even slap you. Like there was a lot of humiliation. And the pagans, like polytheists, they will be in hell forever, and they are the worst of creatures. Me, as a former Muslim, I have to get killed. I'm an apostate, murtad in Arabic. Because of my choice to be a free person, I now have to die. To North Africa, to Morocco. So my whole purpose was to seek knowledge, to become better Muslim.
Wow, what a story already! And we are not even to the CIA part.
No. And there was a fight. I got a bottle hit in my head. This is in Denmark now. I demand, I want to take revenge. But because he's a Muslim, there's a law, just be Sharia law. So I said, fine, I will accept the Sharia law. So we arranged in the mosque, the meetings for the imams. They say you have 3 choices. You can hit him back with a bottle, or you can take blood money, or you can forgive him. I say, I'm not going to forgive him. I want to hit him back with a bottle. But then my friend Abu Bilal, he told me, he said, Murad, don't do it. He said, take the money, show it good. I said, all right, I'll take the blood money. So from that money, I went to Morocco. I got married to the woman that became the mother of my 3 children. Wow. Yeah. The word terror is, Prophet Muhammad said, I've been victorious by doing terror. This is in Arabic, so irhab, turhibuna, adu'i or adu'akum, and terrorize my enemies and your enemies. Terrorism in Islam is not the same concept as you will see it. At that time, we were talked about Chechnya. There was a war in Chechnya, and some of the people I knew had just been to Bosnia some years before that to fight against the Serbians. So we were all hoping that maybe we can go and fight jihad. I actually was under a fund called the Danish Youth Education. So they sponsored my studies, even though they're so liberal in Denmark, you know. So 4 or 5 years to study this program, and you can choose whatever you want to study. And we sponsor you wherever you go in the world. I said, fine, I'm going to Yemen. I get paid while I'm studying Islam. I mean, that's even the Danish taxpayers. I was in this language department where Johnny Walker, the first American Taliban, he was studying. Actually, his teacher was my teacher. My friend smuggled him out, and he went to that. He became Osama bin Laden's courier. That's when I met Anwar Lawlaki, the one who became the most wanted terrorist in the world.
By that time, what was paying your bills?
Taxpayers, because I was living in the UK, and you can have income if you have a company and you don't work, but you have a low income, so they supply you with the money. Economical jihad, we called it, because we will take money from the non-Muslim states, make them weaker, so this money could not be used to wage war against the Muslims. Was all considered to be economical jihad. The worst I told you about, the jizya, the tax, it was like the non-Muslims is paying me tax now.
Wow, you see
this is my dominance, it's my dominance to the non-Muslim. And Ali, a guy called Ali, he called me, he said, Murad, I just cut the head of one kafir, of one non-Muslim. It's so nice, the jihad is so beautiful. And I envied him. I was like jealous because this was like, you cannot do anything better deed. Imagine that. There's no deed better than jihad.
What do you think would have happened if you hadn't gone there?
Death.
Но как се връщаш обратно от това ниво на ислямизация, в което си готов да убиваш? В случая на Мортен Сторм помага Google. Да бе, Google. Като просто написва противоречия в Корана и започва да чете резултати като тези.
От какво е създаден човек? Създаден човек от съсирек от втвърдена кръв.
Или
ние създадохме човека от здрава глина, от кал, оформена във форма.
Или
той създаде човека от капка сперма. И ето същият става открит, спорещ.
Полезна или лоша е консумацията на вино?
О, вие, които вярвате, опияняващите вещества и хазарта, избягвайте такава мерзост, за да може да просперират.
Или
ето притча за градината, която е обещана на праведните. В нея има реки от нетленна вода, реки от вино, а радост за тези, които пият.
И още такива теми като има ли принуда в ислама? Кой е първият мюсюлманин? Авраам, Моисей или Мохамед? И още много.
And I googled contradictions in the Quran. And there's a website came up, it's called enteringislam.com or .org. I start to read the contradiction because there's a verse in the Quran that says, surely if you find any contradiction in this book, it will not be from me. I researched those contradictions for about 2 weeks, and it just totally wiped away my faith. And I realized how dangerous I was. So I said, I don't want my children to live in a world with terrorists. So I called the number.
Но как доказва, че наистина се отказва от исляма, когато агентите искат доказателства? Казва им, дайте малко свински ребърца с голяма бира. И така ледовете са стопени.
I want something with pork and bacon, and I want a beer.
To prove them that you're not a Muslim
anymore. To prove, I say I'm not a Muslim anymore. And I come here, I want to help to fight terrorism. And then when I had the bacon, they were looking like this, and you could just see the eyes just open up. And then I cheers with the beer, and he was cheering, and we were just giving each other a hug. They say, this is going to be big. They say, this is going to be really big.
И така решението е взето. А оставам такъв за пред Ал-Кайда. Но този път вече като агент на датската, английската и американските тайни служби. Така че да предотвратя това, което аз самия до вчера бих правил. Тероризъм. абонамент и натискане на камбанката побеждавате алгоритъма и вместо него решавате какво да гледате. Както и помагате на канала да се развие. Всеки човек има значение. И една благодарност за Боре. Топ оператор, топ монтажист, собственик на заведение и на подкаста Каса Бира. За това, че именно на негова територия се запознаха с Мортен и връзката им ми беше предадена. На здраве, Боре! Но какво значи сам да предложиш да си двоен агент в сърцето на Ал-Кайда? Значи да приемеш съдбата си, че ако те хванат, тогава смъртта ти ще е награда. Като при този Кики Камарена, американско ухо в мексиканските картели. Хващат го и го отвеждат в резиденцията на мексиканския наркобарон Рафаел Каро Кинтеро, където е измъчван в продължение на 30 часа. Резултатът – бавна и мъчителна смърт, като всичките му ребра са потрошени, а черепът му е пробит от парче арматура. Или този Мохамед Саид, обвинен от Ислямска държава, че работи за израелското външно разузнаване Мосад. В интернет е споделено умопомрачително видео от неговата екзекуция. По него се стреля многократно, а убиецът му е момче-тинейджър. И моя гост рискува съдбата му да е именно това. Малък, но забавен факт. На корема на госта ми са татуирани числата 13-12, което символизира абревиатура на всички ченгета са Когато започва да работи за разузнаването, обаче датските ченгета са длъжни да изчистят изцяло досието му, да го назначат на договор и дори днес, когато живее в България, получава датска полицейска пенсия.
I have to pretend to be a Muslim. I also have
You
to...
were fake praying like.
I have to, because otherwise if I don't, she will...
So you were still praying 5 times a day?
Yes, but never, but I didn't believe it. It was just like movements and it was like... So the first mission I went to Lebanon, I drove around with 2 suicide bombers in Tripoli.
What?
On my first mission, I predicted the war in Harbarit, in the refugee camp. They killed more than 1,000. I drove actually with the people who started the war. So I was sent down to meet Omar Bakari, who was a Syrian radical imam from Al-Muhajirun. He was expelled from the UK.
And your mission is to gather as much
information
as
yeah.
possible.
The door was open, I jumped in the back. I have long dress. And then Abu Arab, he gave me a Kalashnikov with the phone. And then he started driving the car. He said, "This is my brother." Then they lift up. They had here, you know, the magazine belts, full of explosives. And I was like really start to get scared because I don't believe in this anymore. You know, I'm just there on a mission. But he started the war in the refugee camp. They killed more than 1,000 people. And I got that information. I came back to London. I met with MI6. I said, "Listen, I just been driving around with 2 suicide bombers." The Danes were always with me, and they introduced me to the British and to the Americans as well. In the beginning, I refused to talk to the Americans because I believe that the Americans have done a lot of injustice as well in the Middle East. He went on the war based on lies in Iraq, killed millions of people. That's also terrorist in my eyes. Yeah, I went to Kenya and I stopped the terrorist attack in Kenya against a hotel. We had 16 people arrested. They have like sleeper cells. And they found weapons and plans that they were actually, around that moment, was about to attack a hotel to kill a lot of tourists. So that was like my second one. I stopped terrorist attacks in London, in UK, in Birmingham. I stopped terrorist attacks in Denmark. The Al-Shabaab, you know, the terrorist organization Al-Shabaab in Somalia, they only trusted me. And I was called Al-Ghura. In Somali was called the Traveler. And amongst the Al-Kaidah in Yemen, I was called Polo Bear. And amongst the intelligence services, I was called Ali G.
Did you come with Ali G?
That was my I insisted it have to be Ali G.
Това е джихадистът и лидер на Ал-Кайда Ануар Ал-Кауи.
Jihad against America is binding upon myself just as it is binding on every other able Muslim.
Именно неговото доверие трябва да спечели Мортен, за да разбере къде янките трябва да пуснат едно дронче. Но как? Алаки му дава мисия. Да му намери европейка, блондинка за негова съпруга номер 6. И човече, той намира кандидатка, хърватка, шампион по лека атлетика. Дори я записва за одобрение на исламиста и я прекарва на негова територия.
Assalamu alaikum, brother, it's me, Amina, and I just want to tell you that right now I feel nervous and this is very awkward for me, so I just taped this just to see that you can see how I look and just to know that I'm okay. But this is me without a headscarf, so you can see my hair. I described it to you before.
Blonde from Europe as his wife.
Yeah, and this was the whole crazy story because they tried to kill him so many times. I was the only one that he communicated with out in the outside world. In 2009, when I met him, he taught me how to use encrypted communication system that Al-Kaida have invented. It's called Asrar al-Mujahideen, the secrets of the Mujahideen. He disappeared and for a moment because the CIA tried to kill him and then he went on the radar. I went into a Facebook group called Supporting Sheikh Anwar and Al-Awlaqi. I wrote, if anyone wants to contact with him, you can contact me. Only one woman she contacted me. There was Irene Horek. She was from Croatia. She asked me, do you know the Sheikh? I said, yeah, he's my friend. He said, I want to marry him. And I said, yeah, but you know his situation? She said, yes, I want to die fi sabilillah. I want to die for fighting, for Allah's sake. I want to be a martyr.
Where was she from?
Croatia.
But was she
convert. She was a convert. Yeah. I sent a message to Sheikh Anwar. I told him, listen, this woman here, she wants to marry if you are interested. And he straight away, of course, he was happy. How else is going to get a chance to marry a blonde? Now I'm a messenger between him and her. You know him. You do know him. She was like, it was like her dream. Oh. She wanted to commit a martyr, like suicide attack in Europe, but she already confessed to me she wanted to make a suicide mission in Europe. So better to get her out of Europe and use her to trap this terrorist in Yemen. The CIA said, listen, if you send her to Yemen, to Anwar, we're going to give you $250,000. I said, fine. She was a runner for the national team. Oh! She was an athletic, she asked for translators because she couldn't speak Arabic. So she needed to get a translator. We have to buy a translator. That same translator replaced with devices, tracking devices. They were tracking her, Zagreb to Vienna, from Vienna flying to Cairo, from Cairo. And then when she crossed the border, yeah, everyone was happy she crossed the border. And then he told her, now only bring what you can have in a plastic bag. So now the things that could have been devices and that was no longer on the list. So not because he suspected me, but he could suspect that somebody could be dealing with her stuff. You have to understand that this $250,000 I built it up a cover. More than half of this money I spent to fight terrorism for my own, to stay alive and to make the best cover possible. And the other half went up in the nose because of frustration. I'll tell you, because of this was very, very hard and difficult job. For several days I don't sleep when I'm out there because of the adrenaline. I was too scared to sleep because imagine I sleep talking and I say, let's kill the terrorists or let's get hold of them or whatever. And then they catch me in this. This was so scary. Wow. Yeah, so I couldn't even come down again. Either I went out in the nature on a canoe trip or camping and sitting around looking into a campfire, or I will sit and fucking self-medication on cocaine. The crazy about this was that most of the dollar bills had ink on them, so they have been confiscated for robberies. And I said, what am I going to do? This is all the dollars. He said, how am I going to change it to Danish kroner? He said, that's your problem.
Алаки има план. Измислил е как да убие максимално много хора, но този път не с бомба. Намерил е точната отрова, която неговите хора паралелно в цяла Европа и САЩ да вкарат в системите на големите молове и всеки вдиша от нея да умре за минути. Разбирай, да превърнат цели молове в огромни газови камери. Трябва да бъде спрян. И точно тогава Мортен Сторм е призован.
Periods, he told me, listen, you get $5 million if this information can lead to killing this guy. Now in America and in the West, they were planning to make small bombs with resin. You can extract them from beans. It's a poison. It's most deadly poison, and they will blow them in small ventilation systems in shopping malls, shopping centers, and football stadiums, so people will inhale it and just die. Weapons of mass destruction without sound. Yeah. So they said we could not find him. We lost everything. Where is it? I went to Yemen within 1 month. I contacted. And then I saw in the news, breaking news.
Another public enemy taken out by the United States. The Al-Qaeda leader called the most dangerous man in the world, Anwar al-Awlaqi.
They killed him in a drone.
As he began to drive, within moments, the drones lock in on the vehicle. The drones fire more than 3 Hellfire missiles, hitting the vehicle carrying Awlaqi, which erupts in flames.
За братите в Patreon, благодарение на които този канал е създаден и съществува. Тук съм ползвал не повече от 1/10 от бруталния, нечуван, но издоказана всяка дума разказ на двойният агент Мортен Сторм.
I am actually a pagan, the gods of nature.
What about the 366?
So the 666 is... I have also done some bad stuff in my life.
Всичко от живота на един исламист. Смъртта. До цинизма на тези, които се борят срещу него и мръсните им тактики.
Soon you're gonna hate me. Why should I hate you? Because I'm Jewish and you're a Muslim. A Muslim who killed a non-Muslim will not share the same place in hellfire. Whole intelligence services knew me as IDG. Not Mортен Сторм. I mean, they were deadly. And they killed the tourists.
С екипа сме се постарали да преведем и субтитрираме целите над 2 часа разговор с него и половинката му.
It's like 10,000. Every stack was 10,000. And you are punishing yourself. It's a self-punishment, like masochism. Addictive, man. But if they knew, just had a small, slightest suspicion, they would behead me. I bought this watch here because, as an irony, as my sense of humor. And Al-Kayda had this in his hand.
How do you explain all those peaceful Muslims and we live with them here in Bulgaria? We love them just like they love us. Освен това, химикали ООД. Какво слагат в храната и водата на Запад, което ражда конспирации?
There's atrazine throughout our water supply. If you in a lab put atrazine in a tank full of frogs, it will chemically castrate and forcibly feminize every frog in there.
They're saying crazy things like the water's turning the frogs gay. Water's actually turning the frogs gay, that's true.
Новините на Цанов, всички клипове създавани от нула специално за вас, както и пълните версии с разговорите на гостите, подредени в плейлисти за ваше удобство. Приятно гледане! Американците отказват да дадат на Мортен обещаните 5 милиона за убийството на джихадист номер 1. Всъщност те винаги могат да кажат:
този не го познавам.
И по този начин да си измият ръцете. И именно за да докаже, че всичко в историята му е вярно, в последната си среща с тях Мортен ги записва. Да бе, не ЦРУ него, а той тях записва с пълните им признания.
Either you trust us or you don't. In this case, I guess you don't.
I don't.
We had our team, we had our whole project going, of which you played the highest role. Okay, President of the United States. Okay, he knows about your work. And I'm not sure why you think we would you over.
I went to Yemen again. I established the contact with Anwar, and I was the only one Anwar he trusted to deliver or give him anything. I even sent Anwar a wife. Did any of your agents to send him a wife? Was it us? They said no. I said okay. Then the following morning, I read in the Sunday Times or something like that. They say how we finally tracked down this Anwar al-Awlaki, and they described how they was monitoring this young carrier.
And that's your story.
That was my mission. So anyway, so I decided to meet the CIA to hear the explanation and I knew they were lying.
He's recording the CIA, right?
He admitted that President Obama, then the President of the United States,
knew you.
He know who I am, he know about me and about my mission.
Прави записа по 3 причини. За да докаже участието си, да изобличи ЦРУ, но и да спаси живота си, защото твърди, че американците искат да го пратят на такава мисия за награда, че никога да не се върне от нея. Искат да го убият. И става сензация.
But in the end I got so angry I said, listen, keep your fucking money, I do this for humanity, knowing that most likely I'm gonna die now and I will not come back.
Why would they want you killed after so many successful missions?
That's the reason why they want to do it. So nobody will know. My missions for with the Danish government was illegally involved. They will kill you in a drone when you are outside of Sana'a. So they wanted me to be in the car with the satellites inside, tracking system. I was supposed to die and I was not supposed to come back. That's why I went public. And guess what? After I went public, the CIA placed me on a terrorist list. I cannot travel outside the EU. I cannot even travel inside of Serbia. I cannot even go to this Washington to see my own exhibition at the Spy Museum, where I'm a hero. And across the road in the White House, they call me a terrorist.
Той ми писа, това беше много смешно, защото той ми написа: здравей, Елена, аз просто не мога да се спра да шпионирам. И това беше изключително смешно. Аз започна всичко. Направих му торта за рождения ден, която той много хареса. The cake, the birthday cake.
Да. I actually started a motorcycle club called Odin's Henchmen. Not only motorcycle club, it's more like also like a religious society because I'm a pagan. But we celebrate and honor the gods and drink with them and Like the Vikings, you know.
Как приемаш тези езически ритуали? Ти част ли си от тях?
Аз не съм част от тях, но съм ги приела напълно. Това е част от него, която аз приемам, разбирам. Така, даже не знам той дали ви е казал. Ние се оженихме на 22 декември миналата година по викингски начин.
Вау!
Какъв хубав пръстен има. Той е с руни.
Elena is such a good woman. You know, we found the cats that were 5 days old. We give them bottles. It was like for me to feel having children with Elena now.
Човека с тези истории е твоя мъж. Това е...
Даже още първият път, когато остана да спя вкъщи и предупреди, каза, вика да знаете, че аз може да буйствам, дори да не се стреснете. Той ръкомаха, рита, вика, смее се, плаче, и всякакви такива неща. Да, кой знае, сигурно се бори на сън, нали? Аз съм го питала, след това викам, добре, ти нещо сънува ли? Той каза, не си спомням.